Hi, Sudis. How are you doing? Welcome to Niasim. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across a video of a man that got his qualifications from Timo and Shane, right? Maybe AliExpress joined together. And firstly, I am going to tell him that he needs to go back to school because I know Idaho is very defunded. They don't fund them. So what do you expect? I learned that there are 30 something in education, like, when it comes to United States. So that means a lot needs to be done. Because if you are educated, you won't come out here to spew whatever you spewed about my own people, you know? And then I am going to tell you this. You see, CRT is something that is very important because majority of them do not know anything. Because for him to come out and tell us that, thank goodness that I'm not like black people, you should be thanking your star that black people are not like. Because if you are, by now you should be on the run from Idaho to Germany or to anywhere. Give you room. But thank your stars that the only thing my people are fighting for is nothing but to dismantle the system that has been oppressing them for how many years? People that your ancestors went where to take all of them. It's called kidnapping. I know you don't know what it means because you got your education from Timo. So how would you know what kidnapping means? L0UD. Let's get into this video.
Black privilege is getting worse by the year. And by worse, I mean they're getting more bold with their schemes and their actions. I do find it pretty funny, though, when you have those interviewers on the street. They go up to a bunch of black people. They're like, you got 100 fish, and 13 of the fish cause half of the problems. What do you do with those 13 fish? Almost every time the black people say get rid of the fish. Black people, you're lucky we don't have the same mentality of you. Otherwise, y'all'd be gone. Black privilege is getting worse by the year.
Let's dispel some bullshit, okay? Because you have got to be out your fucking mind. You got to be out your fucking mind. I have two words for you: mass shootings. Mass shootings. At any moment, at any given time, at any given day, for whatever reason they feel they need to, a bearded white man or a white man of some kind can pull out his arsenal and unalive an entire fucking mall, an entire school system, an entire fucking movie theater, and you have the nerve to talk about 13% commit all the fucking problems. Are you out of your motherfucking mind? Have you lost what little fucking brain Trump allowed you to keep? Are you fucking with me right now? Are you serious? Are you serious? You cannot be, this is the shit I'm talking about. If we gonna have this 13% blah 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 thing, then I think we all should be sitting at the table. You ready to hear something? Here you go. The most dangerous motherfuckers in America are white men with anger issues. The most dangerous motherfuckers in America are white men with anger issues. Who leads in domestic violence? Armed robbery? Blue-collar theft? White-collar theft? Who is it that keeps arsenals and just can't wait to take some people off the census? Who? Who is it that will literally take their weapons out to dinner like it's their little girlfriend? Who has made owning a weapon the only fucking thing that matters at all? The same fucking people we all have to run in terror of. Oh shit. He's mad and he got him a gun. Let me go over here on the other side. You can't be serious right now. There's no fucking way in hell you can be serious. Really? It is white men. Every time, all the time, 24/7, 365. America cannot progress any further than it is because some white men can't keep the fuck up. And y'all cross every goddamn demographic. Every demographic. Even gay white men. There, I said it. I said it. I ain't regretting it. Ain't taking it back either. Our foreign policy shaped by white men. Our interactions around the world shaped by white men. Every time we have, hey, look, we might be progressing further. Wait a minute, white men don't feel good. Let me go back over here. Who is it that continually votes against their own best interests, election after election, off year on year, presidential, congressional, all the time? Who is it? White men. Y'all are danger to white women, white children, white elderly, white gays, white days. You are a detriment to blacks and browns, and Native and Indigenous, and Asian, and Pacific Islander, and Jews. Y'all are a detriment, a danger. You want to have this conversation, then let's have it. Let's have it. The biggest threats in America are men that look like you. Who never holds up their end of the bargain? Who is it that will center themselves in every fucking thing? Who is it that is freely, they will freely be racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, transphobic, and ableist. But the moment somebody talks about them, all of a sudden they start crying and shit. Who is it? White men. You own every goddamn thing. You've been in power since the founding of the fucking republic, and you still can't stop bitching. How many towns, how many black towns no longer exist because of white men? A white woman got Emmett Till killed, but it was two white men that did it and bragged about it. Who is it that routinely wants to go back to Father Knows Best, featuring white men? Who is it that elected that jackass twice? Who is the overwhelming majority of people that elected that fucking jackass twice? The same detrimental motherfuckers that always seem to want to have their shit centered. Center me! White men. White men. Always, every time, all the time. So you want to go there? Then let's go there. I got a picture for you. Sitting here talking shit. While you over here talking shit, make sure you remember, we're not the ones that everything has to be catered to. Show ignorant ass. Thin-skinned motherfucker.
Black privilege is getting worse by the year.
I've been saying it for the dawn of time. Idaho has some pretty screwed up men. I'm going to say some things that are algorithm friendly. So you got to read between the lines. This guy is poorly educated. Why? Because most of Idaho is poorly educated. The schools are underfunded. Like what? What is... Idaho is ranked 36 in education. It's not the worst. It's not the best. Idaho also barely has any diversity. Anyone that is not white, and it kind of shows. It definitely shows. I lived in northern Idaho. This guy's looks like a copycat rendering of the men that I would make sure that I put my hand over a woman's drink if he was around. Let's just say that. They're not the smartest. They're not the most secure. They definitely show that they have a special hood in their closet that's pointy, that has eyes. super uneducated, living in a bubble, doesn't know exactly what he's talking about. Doesn't, because all what he watches is Fox News, and he thinks that the one half black person that's the only black person around in like a 30-mile radius excuses him from saying the most audacious stuff. Usually I would filter this thing with like so many words, but I want to try to get this out there. This is a prime example of why I absolutely threw myself at, the chance of moving out of Idaho. I hated Idaho. I lived there for 13 years in northern Idaho, and that place is nothing but an echo chamber filled with men that just look like me, but are that wear a red hat. That's all what they are. I mean, they also have white hoods and white hoods and white robes. Like, guys, this is like he's either doing satire or rage bait. But the fact that he's from Idaho, I know exactly what he's like. I've dealt with that many times. I've gotten in fights, physical fights, and with like verbal fights with those kind of men. So, I mean, do what you will with that account. I'll probably laugh at him. I don't know what you want to do, but guys, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You want to know a prime example of a deplorable? There you go.
So another question that I get as an ex-Trump supporter, ex-conservative, is, Danny, what made you change? And I wish I could say that there was this burning bush moment or this aha moment, but in reality, it was a culmination of things, seeds that were planted, and then finally it just clicked. I would need to write a whole book to explain my life's journey, but for the sake of time in this video, I'll do a quick synopsis. So I went from college to professional baseball to 10 years in the Florida Department of Corrections. And while in prison, I met a man by the name of Rashawn Clark. Rashawn was 16 when he was sentenced to prison for 20 years. I, on the other hand, had been to prison, home, back to prison for a total of 14 felonies and a total sentence of 10 years. Now, Rashawn was a black Muslim and I was a white Christian conservative. And this was at the height of the Black Lives Matters movement and when Trump was campaigning for president. And in typical conservative fashion, I would run around telling all the black guys in prison that Trump would be the best thing for them, that Trump is the best thing for the black community. And I would be met with resistance. Trump doesn't care about us. Trump does not care about the black community. He's a self-serving billionaire who cares about no one but himself. And I would tell Rashawn that we can't blame anybody but ourselves for why we are in prison. These are the consequences to our actions. Stop being the victim and accept accountability for our choices. And what Rashawn said next was probably the first seed that was planted that ultimately started me on this journey. He said, when you got sentenced to prison, the judge looked at you as the all-American boy who just lost his way, needed some mental health and substance abuse help, but they seen you as being redeemable. He said, I, on the other hand, at the age of 16, was sentenced to 20 years. They looked at me as a thug, a savage, a predator, and my life was not worthy of redemption. In spite of the Department of Justice, juvenile justice, recommending that he get a program, they sentenced him to 20 years in prison instead as a juvenile. And Rashawn would always say to me, DC, you underestimate me. And he was right. Because in my arrogance, I looked at myself as the smartest person in the room. I'm in prison, I'm college educated. Most of these people in here don't even have a GED. So Rashawn recommended that I read Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness. And after I read it, a light bulb went off, my life was forever changed, and that's what started me on this movement. And this is what I learned, and I saw it with my own two eyes. So in the United States of America, the 13th Amendment said the abolishment of slavery except when punishment for a crime. Before this time period, the only people that went to prison were white vagabonds, outcasts, poor white people. But slave labor was such an integral part of the Southern economy that without it, the economy would collapse. So they needed new slave labor. That's why they started the mass incarceration prison boom. Fast forward 100 years, you had Jim Crow segregation, where black people were relegated to second-class citizenship. They were still seen as subhuman. Black Americans faced disenfranchisement from voting. They had to pay a poll tax. They had to pass literacy exams, but nobody wanted to educate them. And they were robbed of their generational wealth. Black Americans also faced barriers to education, to employment, and to housing. They could literally be discriminated against based on their skin color, based on their race. Then we passed the 1964 Civil Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act, which says we can no longer discriminate based on skin color or based on race. So in 2024, what's the only group of people that we can still legally discriminate against? That we can deny housing, that we can deny jobs, that we can deny access to education? If you answered correctly, it's convicted felons. Now, do you think it's a coincidence that 1 in 3 black males carry a convicted felon label? 1 in 6 Latino males and 1 in 17 white males. So either I think it's a coincidence or I think black people are inherently evil with the proclivity to commit crime. And I couldn't go for that. So I did more research and I found out that Nixon and Reagan created the war on drugs. I see that we created the school to prison pipeline. We defunded education while militarizing the police, which patrols predominantly the black community. Then we coined terms like super predator and black on black crime. And once again, right here in the United States of America, we were spinning a narrative that made black Americans seem subhuman. And in my humble opinion, our criminal justice system is the epicenter of systemic racism in the US. It's because it's where we can just label somebody a criminal and justify our inhumanity towards that person. And as Rashawn said, there's a 2-tiered justice system in America, and we're seeing it now more than ever. One for wealthy white billionaires like Trump, who can walk the streets with 34 felony convictions, while being liable for an essay of E. Jean Carroll. And then there's one for people like Rashawn, who spent 20 years of his life behind that fence. But it's impossible to get to this level of understanding without actually putting in the work. And this is why I encourage so many white Americans to actually just do the work. This country is not going backwards. We are not going back. It's only forward from here. I live in an ultra-conservative, Trump-loving MAGA community. And I talk about white privilege in our community a lot. And a lot of times I get pushback. People are like, well, I grew up poor. How do I have privilege? I come from a working class family. How do I have more of an advantage than other demographics of people? Well, I'm going to give you an example of another way that it's manifested in which I used as a learning opportunity. So one of my close friends has a son who is, young, 16, and just started driving. Well, he gets in-school suspension. He's supposed to be in school suspension, but instead he skips out. He gets pulled over while he's driving for doing some pretty reckless stuff that sometimes many kids do, but could get somebody hurt or even himself hurt, or in this situation, pulled over. They were throwing firecracker poppers out the window. Cop sees him, pulls him over. Well, when the cop pulls him over, he happens to know his dad, which is also my good friend. Now, rather than ticketing the kid or taking him to jail for, reckless endangerment, he calls my friend, who is his dad, and tells him exactly what his son is doing. Lets the kid off with a warning. My friend disciplines him at home. But this is what I told him about privilege and how connections matter. Representation matters. Now, when that police officer pulled your son over, he knew your son. He also seen his own son in your son. And he knew that getting him in trouble, ticketing him, taking him to jail could do irreversible harm to his life. Which is good. It's a teachable moment. But the reality is that the vast majority of white people in my community are more likely to know cops, politicians, people in positions of authority or power, whereas many of the other marginalized kids may not have that same representation and get the same grace. They get pulled over and they may be seen as inherently evil or criminal, and they very well could have an entirely different outcome. Now, I know these are hypotheticals, but what if it was a young black kid who's scared of that cop? And while he's scared, he chooses not to talk to him or speaks to him in a manner in which that cop deems disrespectful. He may not get that same outcome. And this is just a reality of how privilege can show up in our lives. And it has nothing to do with how much or how little money that you have. And again, I don't believe in evening the scoreboard. I don't believe in giving the white kids harsher penalties now because of this. Just recognize it and do better.
This is all I got from this video, and I am going to ask him, where did he come from? He said Idaho, right? Now you already know how Idaho school system worked and how defunded it is. So that is another one. When he says he loved the poorly educated, this is actually what he meant, because this particular one is a very good example that poorly. I mean, I don't know why all the videos I'm saying today are just these people that are very ignorant. You know what? We have black privilege, all right? Like you all go around, peeping around. I know we have black privilege. You are very lucky that we are not like you. This is what you should say to yourself. Tell yourself, Mr. Man from Idaho, sit yourself down, take a chilled water. Tell yourself that my brain is made from Pe0ple or Shin, right? And tell yourself that I am very lucky that like black people are not like me, like you, right? Say it with your chest. Because if we black people are like you, I am sure you will be run, like, you are going to run from that Idaho to Germany. You all are so lucky that black people are not like that. The only thing black people have been working on or are still working on is just to dismantle the system that has been pressing them. Pay them their reparations, you won't pay them. But every day you wake up, you want to click bait with black people, all right? Because without them, what do you actually have to give out? You actually don't have anything to give out, because the way you pull that cat back, that shows me how your brain is. Pe0ple, made from Pe0ple. You all think it's okay, to come out on this Beyonce's internet to look for a way to call my people out. Like anytime you get it, you failed, because I am an African lady. Hope you know that. We already know you people, and we are trying as much as we can to spread the news so everybody will get to know. You see the unity that we are going to get that unity. And I don't want to tell you anything because it's going to be untold for my people. Who is your president, actually? How many felonies does he have? I hope you heard the story this man shared, Dan F. Collins, that's his name. He said he already had his aha moment. Did he lie? Of course he did not lie. He experienced an ex-Trump supporter. But why is it that a majority of Trump supporters are poorly educated? Because you cannot have quality education and support this present administration. If you have quality education, probably you got that quality education from Shane. And tell me how you cannot get a quality education from Shane, right? So you see, I don't know how I feel, but man, I don't want to cry for you people because you all are moving wild. Cry for what? We move. Black people already, very much already. But you people with your mentality, you ain't going anywhere further. You are absolutely stopping at that Idaho. And people like you probably do not have you need to go back to school. When I say school, I don't mean Shane or Pe0ple school. Go back to proper school because you need to be educated properly. You see, one of the reasons why we say CRT is a must, but yeah, look at him disgracing himself. He might actually have a girlfriend. Oh my goodness, thank goodness. I will never date a poorly educated man. Let me tell us something. Being educated actually doesn't mean you go, like there are some people that did not go to school, but they are intellectually sound. You really must be equal to it. Yeah. You must be ready to fight this curse with me, except that you are not ready. I am going to draw the curtain here, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye for now.